CANSO is working to achieve institutional regulatory change by working with government institutions such as ICAO, which is the global forum for international aviation, to ensure that standards are implemented that are harmonized around the world to ensure a more efficiently run ATM. CANSO's role at ICAO is to influence this organization. It's an organization that is a treaty organization. States have agreed on certain obligations that they are willing to fulfill with regards to aviation and services that need to be provided by states. And so this is a gathering of states. ICAO, the organization itself, is merely there to administer the agreement that states have entered into. And we are there trying to influence new policy, changes in the regulatory framework. So states have created a regulatory framework for aviation through ICAO. ICAO will be tackling a number of issues over the upcoming years. Primarily, safety is always high on the agenda. Security, of course, after 9/11 is very high on the agenda as well. But clearly in these times of difficulties, economic difficulties, attention is being focused also on efficiency of aviation and how it can assist states and the other stakeholders in aviation to provide a more efficient service. We are there, of course, to advocate our interests on behalf of our members, and that is focusing more on safety. It's focusing more on governance to ensure that we can deliver a better performing ATM. So that is where we are focusing most attention. My work in terms of developing a global seamless airspace, the focus of my work is really to ensure that standards that are set by the organization, by ICAO, are in fact harmonized around the world, and that states that are in fact going to be implementing those standards in a very harmonized way. It makes no sense that an airline operating the world over needs to transition from one state to another, one airspace to another, and has to deal with a multitude of different procedures, systems or avionic systems that aircraft need to have on board, etc., etc. So standardization needs to be implemented in a way that it's going to be efficient for aviation to be carried out. The business transformation program is fundamental to our engagement at ICAO. It covers a number of areas, namely changes have to occur at the ATM level in the operation of ANSPs. It has to happen also at the technological level. We spoke about standardization before, ensuring that there are harmonized approaches to implementation of procedures, of technology, etc. But also, very fundamentally, we need to ensure that regulatory and institutional change occurs, and that occurs worldwide. In other words, we need to get away from the notion of each state providing services in different ways and imposing different procedures on customers of air traffic management, because that only breeds inefficiency in the system. So we need to ensure that states implement like policies, harmonized policies throughout the world, because only then can we really deliver an efficient global ATM. Airspace sovereignty impacts ATM in that the convention of ICAO says that states have sovereignty, but in fact doesn't really describe what it means. And different states have different, or ascribe different meanings to sovereignty and their rights. But essentially, the state taking a decision on how services are to be delivered is an act of sovereignty. it is the state's ultimate right to make a decision on how services are to be delivered, and that in itself is an act of sovereignty. So it's really a non-issue, but it is nonetheless it's a right that exists for states.